We had certain Hamzah Sheeraz in here. That is a fight that I think everybody in British boxing would love to see at some point.
There's a great fight between him and Hamzah Sheeraz.
Ask me, you can ask him. We'll both say yes. He'll blame me. I'll blame him.
But he's like a promoter's favourite kind of thing. Just stop saying my name. It's kind of annoying. I'm the type of guy, if you say my name, you got to fight me now. So unless you're ready to fight me, just don't say my name, please. That's all I ask. Everyone kind of saw him as this big puncher, like the next Golovkin, and I just saw him as a very skillful fighter. But if he keeps thinking he's a big puncher, he's going to come on stop.
And still WBO middleweight champion of the world.
I was upset at that point because it was just like, I had my chance and I let it slip. I couldn't believe I was leaving there without that world title. Like everyone else obviously fought what they fought, but in my mind, I felt like this is my time. It's all come together at the right time. I'm leaving with this belt.
You had the Felix Cash fight, didn't go your way.
I was really angry. So I'm sparring angry. I'm trying to hurt everyone, and they had to kind of pull back like, you know what, maybe don't spar for now. And it's like, nah, that's going to piss me off. Like,
do you ever wonder what your career might have been like had that not have happened? Rob Tebbutt here for One-on-One Boxing, and welcome to another episode of One-on-One With, where I sit down with somebody from the boxing industry and try and get to know them a little bit. But as always, let's remind everybody to please like, comment and subscribe. Turn your notifications on for more boxing content. Now that's out of the way, it is my pleasure to introduce this week's guest, none other than Denzel Bentley. Denzel, it's been a little while since we've done this. I think we were talking about it earlier. I think it might be 2 years, maybe even longer, since we've actually done any sort of interview.
yeah,
So
I think it's just over 2 years.
how are you?
I'm good. I've been good, thanks, man. How you been?
Not bad, not bad. Obviously, lots changed over the last 2 years. Put a bit more weight on, lost a bit more hair, but still handsome and still alive, Denzel. So we're doing what we can. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, man, all good. Just training. Yeah, nothing new, man. Just training and sleeping, really.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. Certainly so close to your fight with Nathan Heaney, just a matter of weeks away. I have been, as people will know, trying to get you in on the show for the boxing show every Monday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Because among everything else, you're also an analyst now and a pundit.
Yeah, I try.
Have you been enjoying that? You've been doing it for a little while now.
Yeah, no, I have, man. I have. I never really thought of it until I got called up to do it, and now I'm enjoying it. I kind of want more jobs, but I got to wait till they need me.
Well, sure. I mean, you're working in the right direction. Look,
Yeah.
if you're getting the call up for the boxing show, then you must be doing something right.
That's true.
Just need
That's
to
true.
say yes one time. But anyway, you are a couple of weeks away, or by this goes out, maybe a week or so away from your bout with Nathan Heaney.
Yeah.
Going to get all the boring questions out of the way first. How's camp? How's preparation and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, camp's been good. As good as it can be, really. Sparring's been good. It's just really just counting down the days to get there. Do you know what I mean? And just looking after myself and making sure I don't pick up any injuries late in camp, and just making sure I'm healthy for fight night.
I was surprised when this fight was made. Were you surprised?
It was kind of being talked about for a while, but then in my mind I was like, probably won't happen. But then I see him a few times and he just kept saying it. So like before I fought Kieran Smith, I was doing, after the public workout, I was doing a little live thing with Dev, and he's come in and said, oh yeah, after this Stoke City, and I was like, huh? Oh yeah, I was like, okay, cool. Like if you're talking like you're up for it. Then it kind of dragged a bit, and I saw him then I had a meeting with Frank, and Frank said, yeah, that's the fight that they're going to try and make, and I thought, oh, he probably won't take it. Then I saw him at the Joyce Zhang card, and I was like, what's going on? Like, is this happening? And he's like, yeah, it's happening. I thought, okay, cool. I just wait till it gets announced then. Probably sorting out some last little bits.
Yeah, I was surprised. Nothing against, I think, to be fair, get it out of the way first. Nathan Heaney, lovely bloke. You're a lovely bloke. May the best man win when you get into the ring on the night. Obviously, hopefully both of you emerge healthy more than anything. But yeah, I think considering the level that you've boxed at in your career and considering the level that Nathan's boxed at in his career, you go into that fight an overwhelming favourite in my eyes and certainly in the eyes of most boxing people. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I don't really like being the favourite, let alone the overwhelming favourite. I've kind of got used to kind of like being the underdog and proving everyone wrong. So now when everyone expects you to perform a certain way, it's like unnecessary pressure, because it's like, oh man, I meant to just like take this guy out in a couple of rounds, and it's like, if I don't do that, it looks bad. But I think he might be a little bit underrated. I think he's quite good. I think he is tough. I think he's shown that he is tough, and he just doesn't look pleasing to the eye, but I think what he does works, because it has worked from so far. I mean, he wouldn't be undefeated, like considering the level of opponents he's boxed anyway. But I think that Jack Flatley fight showed me he's better than what I thought he was. So I'm trying to take this fight like mad serious. I'm not trying to see myself as, you know, an overwhelming favourite or there's no way I can lose this. I mean, he's going to come and pull it on the line, just like I did against Janibek when everyone thought I wasn't going to last 30 seconds. So he's going to come there and try and prove that, you know, he's at this level, and the British title is his dream essentially. So I've got to kind of crush them dreams for him.
That is not a very nice thing to say, but yeah, absolutely right. This is the fight game.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you consider the fact that he is such a lovely guy, I mean, I remember looking back at, or even what was it, a couple of weeks ago, we did the press conference when he said, you know, if I wanted my sons to do this, I'd tell them to look at Denzel and look at this and look at that. It's quite different from somebody standing across and going, I'm going to do this to him and he's no good and he's that. Does that like impact it? Because I would imagine being sat there and hearing something like that and be like, what was that?
It threw
like?
me off. I was like, I didn't expect that. Like, that's kind of mad. I appreciate it. That's nice, but I'm like not now. Like, just say you're gonna win. Like, just at least just say you're gonna beat me, so I got something to hold against you. But yeah, like, he's just naturally a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he, that was generally how he felt, and he said it, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, in the moment, it's like, oh, you're gonna make it hard for me to want to hurt you, but I just got to remember he's gonna come and hurt me, so that's my reason to switch on and hurt him first.
Yeah, sometimes you get that nice guy thing, don't you, where it's just like, yeah, just be really nice guy, like Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. Like, wear the belts. Yeah. So be wary of that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we kind of do a little bit of, I guess, deep diving, and we mentioned this is like over 2 years. The last time we spoke was before the Felix Cash fight.
Yeah, it was.
Now, obviously, a lot.
That's probably why you didn't call me back, but it's fine.
Yeah, I was thinking, I've done loads of interviews with Felix Cash since, although not recently. But anyway, it has been a long time since then. But I mean, you had the Felix Cash fight, didn't go your way. I think your career has been a good example. We just had Chris Billam-Smith, of course, now WBO champion of the world. He had a loss to Richard Riakporhe early on in his career in a fight where everybody was looking forward to it, much the same as they were with yourself and Felix. What did you learn from that night? What did you learn, and how did it change you?
I learned that there's always more to do, because at that time I thought I was doing everything I could. Then you take that loss and you realise you can push more. It's like you're either going to push more or you're going to end up being in this position the rest of your career. So is there a point of carrying on? So let's see how hard I can push. So just get a few things in like position, started in camp regulating, even times I go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, just don't take it for granted. Go in bed late, waking up early to go training and think, yeah, I'm all right. It all catches up to you. Getting nutritionists on board, doing a bit of strength training, just everything in general that I wasn't doing before. I kind of added it and been like, if I want to be a champion, I've got to do what's required. So I started doing that and I realised, okay, maybe I can push a bit more. You just got to be able to push your body that little bit further every time. So that's what I kind of learned from that. I mean, fighting wise, there wasn't really nothing I could learn in that fight. Do you know what I mean? Because it was over so quickly, but it is what it is. How quickly did you think that in your mind? Obviously, I mean, you would have had the initial kind of thoughts, but I can imagine the first 48, 72 hours after that, and probably a little bit longer, weren't the easiest times in your career. Yeah, I mean, the next day I went to Martin's house, with my trainer, obviously, and I just said, I need to get back out. Like, I can't sleep on that. Like, I need to get back out. I need to fight, like, ASAP. Of course, I had to heal up and I had suspension, all these things there. But I was telling them, like, as soon as I'm allowed to fight, please get me a date. I don't want to sit on that. Because everyone I see is going to ask me about that, because that's the last thing I've done. It doesn't matter how long. Like, even if I retired at that point, today, people still ask me about that fight because it's the last thing I've done. So I just didn't want to sit on that. And then obviously I had my little week off and then got back to the gym. And then it was like, okay, so what can I do? What can I do? Have I got to spar harder, fight harder, hit the bags harder? Nah, that's not working. I'm just exerting energy that I don't need to exert. What can I do? And then I just started, after I calmed down a little bit, because I was really angry. So I'm sparring angry, I'm trying to hurt everyone, and they had to kind of pull back, like, you know what, maybe don't spar for now. And it's like, nah, that's going to piss me off. Like, I need to take my anger out on someone. But then obviously after I'd calmed down and spoke to other people in boxing, like, not to find things out, but just general conversation. And they might say something and I'd be like, wait, what was that? Who do you use for this and that? Oh, that nutritionist, does that help? How much weight did you cut that? What do you do on fight week and stuff like that? And all right, let me get their number and if I can work with them. Call them up. Okay, can we do this? And then I speak to someone else. Oh, I do a bit. Oh, what's that? Let me see. And then from then I just started picking little things and adding it together. And I felt the benefits of it as it was going. So I think after that, I was meant to fight on the Sonny Edwards undercard, and it got pulled. Can't remember who was meant to fight. It was at Copper Box. It got pulled on fight week. But just the shape I was in alone, I felt so much. But I was like, wow, like this stuff actually works. At first, I just thought yeah, you train, you can box, you're all right. I was like, wow, this stuff actually works. Like, I need to keep on it. And then I got that last minute call up to fight Sam Evans, performed how I performed, and then it just kind of, my career took off again from there.
Do you ever wonder what your career might have been like had that not have happened?
Yeah, I probably would have took a worse loss down the line somewhere, because they were talking world title opportunities after that. Probably could have gone in with Andrade and got battered, and then I've shown myself to the world. Like, Cash was, I mean, even though like it's got however many views on YouTube, it was like domestic. So like, everyone in the country see me as that guy, and now I'm useless. But when I fought Janibek, it was the whole world is seeing me. It's on a bigger stage, and those that didn't see the Cash performance before have seen me perform like that for the first time. Whereas if I'd have won that fight and gone on to fight, let's say Andrade or something, and he knocked me out in a round or two, the world have seen me perform like that, and they don't want to see me at a world stage ever again. So I guess it's worked out better in the sense.
Fast forward into that Janibek fight, and obviously it's a fight where you came up short, but you came out of it with overwhelming positivity.
Yeah.
But as the fighter, you still took the loss in a world title fight. Was that difficult to kind of manage those different feelings when you've got people going, oh, Denzel, you did so well, you did this, you did that, but you're coming home with the loss and not the world title? How was that to manage those feelings?
It's a bit weird, because I was upset at that point, because it was just like, I had my chance and I let it slip. But when everyone's praising me, it made it hard to stay down. But it was like, okay, I've proven that I'm there. So it was kind of easier to get over. But I wanted that like bad. Like, I couldn't believe I was leaving there without that world title. Like, everyone else obviously fought what they fought. But in my mind, I felt like this is my time. It's all come together at the right time. I'm leaving with this belt. So when I didn't, it was just like, oh man, like, I actually just let it slip. Like, when am I going to get this opportunity again? But then when I've gone back home and I've seen the feedback and everyone's praising me and all these things, it's like, okay, I've proven I'm at a certain level, so maybe it's not over. All I got to do is just keep working hard again and try and get an opportunity to, fight for another world title, but make sure I capture it this time.
Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy the experience of the whole travelling?
I did. It was crazy. I mean, what helped me with my sleeping pattern, by the way, when we got out there, we just toured the whole strip. Went through every hotel, didn't get home back to the hotel until about 3 a.m. So by the time I've gone to sleep, I'm just shattered. So I woke up, then I was just full of energy. Ran the next morning, it might have been adrenaline because I was just so excited to be in Vegas. I've never been in Vegas. Went for a run in the morning, came back, went to the Mayweather gym just to look at it, and then they were like, oh yeah, he's fighting for world title. Oh yeah, come train here. And I'm like, I'm training in the Floyd's gym. I watch this on like YouTube, like All Access, Showtime and that. Like, this is sick. So I was just there watching these guys, met some good guys. Steve, that was controlling the gym. He was a good guy. Coach Bullet was up there. He helped me as well during the camp. Brought me some like people to spar and stuff, and it was just a whole sick experience until we met Top Rank, and then I just realized, oh, I'm just a body. Like, they're just like, I'm just a body. Like, it's just just come here, all right, go back. I was like, oh, cool. I was having fun up until now, but cool, it's on now, isn't it?
What does that make you feel like? I mean, obviously, and also you mentioned there about kind of the world thinking that Janibek was going to go through you. He was going to knock you out quicker than Felix Cash, all of that stuff that kind of went around that time. That galvanised you, that kind of put you in that siege mentality, us against the world, or did you just not care by that point?
No, I didn't care about that point. I think I've said this a few times, but when I lost to Cash, I went through every comment on every social media, like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, every comment. There's nothing you can say now that's going to make me feel the same way. It's like, okay, I've seen it all. Oh, he's rubbish. Oh, he'd never be this. Oh, he needs to go back to the amateurs. Oh, he's going to get knocked out and so and so. I've seen it all before. So I can't keep letting the same things bring a reaction out of me or a negative reaction out of me. So I saw it and I was laughing, and I was like, on Twitter, I had some of the things I'd say, I'd send to my group chat and be like, hey, well, look what they're saying. People are funny online, like people saying I'm going to lose by murder and all these things. I just kind of find it funny. But then he was so overconfident, I knew I could kind of capitalize on that, but I knew I had to be careful because everyone kind of saw him as this big puncher, like the next Golovkin, and I just saw him as a very skillful fighter. But if he keeps thinking he's a big puncher, he's gonna come on stuck. He can punch, like he's a sharp puncher. It's not heavy shots. So I thought, okay, cool, I'm gonna try and capitalize on that, and that's what I tried to do essentially. But yeah, all the comments and that, I kind of laughed it off. None of them really got to me.
The recollections of the fight itself, what were you happy with, what weren't you so happy with?
The later rounds, I picked it up quite late. I was meant to take like the first round or two to kind of figure him out, but he kept doing some little tricks with his feet where he was in distance, but he weren't in distance. And I kept going through it a couple of times, and he just leaned back and countered me, and I'm like, I can't keep letting him do this. But when I kind of pressed him and stepped to him, I realised physically he ain't stronger than me, and he can feel my power because he's not letting his hands go like that. So every time I watched him before, whenever someone set their feet, he's letting his hands go. So initially I thought, don't set your feet with him. Like don't be there to be hit. Which is why in the first 4 rounds I was kind of moving around trying to find my range and a way to get inside. I mean, it took me 2 rounds too long to figure out what he was trying to do. But once I stepped on him and I felt that difference, I thought, oh, okay, I got you here. So then I just kept pressing him and I hit him with a few body shots and I heard him wincing. I was like, oh shit, he's human. Yeah. Like, yeah, I got him, but I just couldn't find those shots again. He was so smart. But then I found other shots and I just kept pressing him. And he just came out that 12th round quite strong. I mean, he rocked me in the beginning of the 12th round. Had to kind of ride that storm and finish the fight strong. But it was, I enjoyed the fight overall. When I look back at it, I'm like, it's fun to be in a good 12-round fight and that was a fight. But yeah, I just started too late.
But the lessons learned from that compared to the lessons learned from the Felix Cash fight,
yeah, I learned more in the ring this time. More in the ring. To be honest, I even think if I stepped on it earlier, I probably wouldn't have got it on the scorecards anyway, because one judge gave me 2 rounds. I thought that was a bit harsh. I don't know how you saw it.
Yeah, I gave you 5 rounds.
Fair enough.
I thought, but yeah, I also thought that you started a bit too late in that one. But again, you're up at that stage against a guy who's a former world amateur gold medalist. Yeah, like an elite amateur. He was the top of the top as an amateur, and you kind of, I remember him coming through, and it was that whole Kazakh style. He's going to be the new Golovkin and beating like Rob Brandt, and then he beat who else did he beat before you?
Vaughan Alexander. That's the fight.
Yeah, Vaughan Alexander. He beat
Danny Dignam.
Yeah. Danny Dignam, yeah, I mean that was a hard night for Danny Dignam.
Yeah, I think he just went in there a bit nervous.
Yeah, I mean,
because he knew about him.
But similar to what you'd said earlier on about the Felix Cash fight, like, and that's not kind of talking about the rest of Danny's career, but not having been in that Felix Cash situation that you'd already been in, true, it kind of takes that different element away from him, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, next after Nathan Heaney, we had certain Hamzah Sheeraz in here. How long ago? A few months ago. He was saying that he was going to... No, he didn't really. He was very, very respectful guy. But look, that is a fight that I think everybody in British boxing would love to see at some point. Do you think we see that fight without a world title?
I don't know. I mean, you guys know me. Like, I've never said no to a fight. I fought pretty much everyone I've been asked to fight. He's obviously on this trajectory he's been talking about, and he's being built a certain way. I mean, he's not to be salty or anything, but he's like a promoter's favourite kind of thing, which is it's not a problem. I mean, he's growing in his career, he's performing well, he's doing his thing, and a fight like me, is that a risk he'd want to take without a world title? We don't know. We don't even know what will happen when we get in the ring. So in his mind, he's thinking, I can probably get to a world title without fighting Denzel. So why wouldn't I do that? I've had my world title shot. It came out just like a random time. It wasn't like I got in position. He's working his way into a position to get a world title shot, and he might just end up doing that. He was mandated for the British, and that's not who I'm fighting right now. So, do you know what I mean? So obviously he might just try and find his way to a world title shot and see if he can get a world title without fighting me, which is cool. Do your thing, but then just stop saying my name. It's kind of annoying. I'm the type of guy, if you say my name, you got to fight me now. So unless you're ready to fight me, just don't say my name, please. That's what I ask.
What do you make of him as a fighter?
I think he's a good fighter. I think he's progressed very well. He turned pro quite young. So he's had a long career and he's found his feet now. He's got a new trainer. Not new anymore, but, you know, his newest trainer. And he's performed well to this point. I mean, irrespective of who he's fighting, like, it just is what it is. But he's looked good against the people that he's been fighting. So can't really take much away from him. Like, if he was fighting these guys and struggling against them, you could say, yeah, he's beating them, but he's not looking good. But he's getting rid of them. He's cleaning them out. But at some point, you're going to walk into someone that's a bit more solid than these guys you're kind of walking through, and it's going to test your will. Can I dig deep? Do I want to go there? Can I be asked for this? Do I want it? And if you can answer those questions, you do all right. But we don't know if we can answer them questions yet. So
moving away from yourself, I mean, I think anybody who's watching this or anybody in this room can just hear by your passion and the way that you talk about boxing that you are, sometimes I'll sit with boxers and say, oh, tell me about who your favourite fighter is. And they go, I don't really like boxing. And I go, oh, great. Well, I'm so glad you came in to do an interview and talk about boxing. But you are a big, big boxing fan.
100%.
You love it. You watch all of it. You constantly picking fighters to beat fighters that I pick. And more often than not getting it right as well as Denzel. But yeah, you absolutely love it, don't you?
Yeah, no, I love boxing. I love boxing. I mean, everyone each to their own, but I don't really get guys that don't love it, that box. I mean, I couldn't box if I didn't love it. So I love watching it. I love learning things from other fighters. I just love seeing what's going to happen. I mean, at some points, I love it so much it annoys me. Do you know what I mean? Like, this boxing just ain't, it's not going well. Why do I like this sport? Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I enjoy boxing, man. I enjoy boxing, all sorts of boxing. I enjoy it at every level.
Yeah, I think the phrase that we quite often find ourselves repeating here is being a boxing fan, being like a proper boxing fan. It's like being in an abusive relationship. Like where you think, no, it does love me, it's going to give me the fights I want, it promised me. Like, no, it's different. You don't know boxing like I know it. And then before you know it, man, boxing's moving mad again.
Yeah,
you're in all sorts of trouble. You mentioned there about fighters that you like and fighters that you watch. Yeah. Who are they? What are they? And who do you like? Yeah, I know, but go on. We'll give it to everybody.
Crawford's my number one guy. I like Crawford. I mean, like guys I'd stay up for and watch, like in America. Crawford. I know Canelo's not American, but fights out there. Canelo, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis. Those are the main guys I stay up for, and the rest of them, if they're in a good fight, I kind of stay up to watch. But regardless of who those guys are fighting, I'm watching. Yeah,
so myself and Denzel had a pretty intense beef, an intense rivalry over the years with Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. I'll let you do the honours, Denzel. Why don't you tell them about the origins of our beef and ultimately the way in which you won it?
Just to cut a long story short, he just didn't want to give Crawford the number one pound for pound spot, or maybe not even the top 3. So I kept going back and forth with him like, what is going on? I don't understand why you want to take credit away from this man. He's done everything asked of him. He was so sure that his resume wasn't up to the standards it needed to be for him to be pound for pound number 1. So when that fight got announced on his hat, I couldn't wait for it to happen so I could just look Rob in the face and say, what did I tell you? He gave me my credit though, but not online. He messaged me privately. I wanted it on
You wanted it in public. I wanted it public.
I tweeted him on Twitter and he messaged me back privately.
Also, I'd like to point out that I did, when I saw Denzel and basically everybody who I'd been telling over the years about it. And also there's the kind of the side point is that it's just fun to wind people up after a while.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, my view at the time was that Crawford needed that elite win to hang his hat on. I think he got that in spades against Errol Spence, and now he's number 2 pound for pound behind Naoya Inoue.
Number 2.
Well done to him. Like to be second place to Naoya Inoue is some achievement. There.
Hey, I mean,
so, well done. You're a fan of the second
after
best
December
fighter in the
when
world.
Inoue wins the second, his second undisputed title. Then I won't argue him being number 1.
The thing for me is that, and one of the reasons why I said he's number 4 or number 5. Which I didn't think at the time, is that you're splitting hairs. There's 18 weight classes in boxing when you include the Bridgerweight division with the WBC. So there's 18 weights, 4 belts per weight, top 15. So there's 60 per 60 times 18 is maths that I'm not going to sit here and try and do and embarrass myself about. But to be in the top 3 of those fighters is quite an achievement. That was the only point I was trying to put across about Terence
And you said
Crawford.
that. You said, listen, he's top 3 in the whole world out of all these fighters. And I said, yeah, that sounds good, but he's number 1. He's number 1.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, and I know it does, I think now I do have him at number 1. I think the way in which he took Spence apart.
Yeah.
And there's one thing beating him, and also I was feeling myself in the build up to it as well because Inoue just knocked out Fulton. I was like, no matter what Crawford does, he's not going to be as dominant as Inoue was over Fulton. But he was, wasn't he?
He was. I didn't even expect that. Like I didn't expect any of them to get knocked out. If I'm being honest, I thought it was going to be a dog fight, but it was just one sided. It was completely one sided, man. And whatever was going on with Spence, we'll never know. But I mean, I know weight can get to you, but that's the way he's fought his whole life. He boxed him the same way he boxed Ugas. But Crawford just got too much to his game. He could box both ways, go backwards, go forwards, move side to side, can punch, got a good jab. And he's smart. He said Spence has a great jab. and he had to take that away from him by throwing a better jab. And like, who would have thought of that? Everyone he's fought, no one's thought of that. That's so simple. Something so simple. He's a proper boxing man, Crawford. That's why I rate him so highly. Because he's not one of those guys that's like, oh, I just fight, I don't really like. But he's a boxing man.
And there's nothing about him as well. There's no fat in a sense of everything he says. He means. He says what he means, and he means what he says.
He doesn't try to do things to overhype a fight or build something. Or everything he says, he means. Like, it's from his chest. He doesn't do any extras. And Spencer's like that as well, to be honest. But he is what you see. He does what he says in the tin. So.
He's now a 3-weight world champion, a 2-weight undisputed champion.
Crazy.
How far do you think he can go? There's talk of Jamal Charlo if and when he comes back to 54. There's Tim Tszyu there. There's Canelo at 168 that he seems infatuated by. He seems really, really interested in that fight. That's jumping 3 weights for a guy who started his career at lightweight.
Yeah.
Where do you think he can go? Because, I mean, he is at the stage of his career where it's got to be big fights only for him.
It's got to be big fights, yeah. I mean, he's 36 now, but he's lived a good life. Like, he's a young 36. He can keep going. But the question is, if you do want to keep going, like, he's achieved a lot. Made history, made money. Do you really need to keep going until someone just takes you out? But I don't like the Canelo fight. I remember listening to him speak before, and he was like, there's weight classes for a reason. He won't go up to 168. He understands the weight classes. And I respect that. But now it's like, he's looked at it, and maybe he's seen something that he thinks he can beat Canelo. I mean, they're the same height. The dynamics ain't too much different. It's just that Canelo just filled out a bit more, and he's naturally at 168 now. He couldn't make any other weight below 168 probably. No. And Crawford can. So what you're going to really do is just eat yourself up to 168 to fight someone that's a big, strong 168, beating up guys that are 6'2" and have been that weight their whole career. He's even been up to light heavyweight and knocked out Kovalev. So I mean, yeah, people talk about skill, and they are right about that. His skill set may be superior to Canelo's, but that strength, I mean, you saw it in the Charlo fight. His strength is, he's a strong man. Like, he's strong, so I don't really like that. But I think Charlo or Tim Tszyu, good fights for him, man. Tim Tszyu's a strong man as well, but it's just that way. Crawford's strong, actually. I'm saying it like he's not strong. That guy's he grew up a wrestler, and that takes a lot of physicality. But I think the Tim Tszyu fight and the Charlo fight are good fights for him. But I think he's after Canelo because he just wants one fight to be undisputed. He doesn't want to fight both Charlo and Tim Tszyu to be undisputed. That's going to take another year or two to kind of, become undisputed again. By then he'd be like 37, 38. I think he's really looking for one fight and retiring.
Also, probably get paid a few quid to box Canelo.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. To box Canelo,
probably a few dollars in that one.
But I just don't want to see him go out. I'm not saying he will, but I don't want to see him go out like that.
No, I don't want to see it. But if he does and Canelo beats him, I'll be going, yeah, no way. Yeah. One of the things that I really do like about Crawford and I've loved about him over the years is that he's not trying to be a nice guy, and that's not to say he's a bad guy. I don't know Crawford by any stretch of the imagination. He strikes me as a genuine hard bastard who can box as well. Yeah, 100%. And like Roberto Duran's one of my favourite fighters. Yeah. Skilled but nasty. Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And you're right with Crawford. He's not trying to be anyone. He's just himself, and you can see his upbringing in the way he, the way he handles himself, the way he talks at press conference, the way he moves, the way he wants to fight everyone. He's just rugged. He's not trying to be anything else but what he is. And you see a lot of fighters nowadays just trying to portray an image, like trying to be a character as well as a fighter. And that's just too much. It's too much. I mean, they try to do extras to hype fights. And I've always said, if you can fight, you can fight. Do you know what I mean? I get the thing of you need to be able to sell and make money and all these things, but you get to that, the top of the sport and you're a world champion, I mean, you're going to make some sort of money regardless. So you ain't got to act out of character. I mean, he's the perfect example of, what a professional should be like. Just be you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to act like anything, and then if and when you lose, you got to kind of step back and say, oh, I'm humble now. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of fighters have done that. I think it's harsh to say names, but yeah.
Have you ever had that kind of fleeting thought in your mind? Like, you don't strike me as somebody who I could see with bells and whistles and jumping up and saying crazy stuff. But has it ever gone through your mind thinking I think of like someone that I know, I don't know how well you know him if at all, Ahara Davis. Yeah. Earlier in Ahara's career. Ahara, if you know him away from the cameras, softly spoken guy, nice guy. But on camera, certainly the start of his career was a completely different person when those cameras went on. Did that ever go through your mind at all?
No, never. But I've had people say to me, oh, you got to make noise, man. Look at this guy, look at that guy. But I'm just happy. I don't really listen to people. I'm not a guy that listens to people. Like, I mean, if I ask you for advice, I take it. But if I haven't asked you for your advice, I'm probably not going to take it. Do you know what I mean? So when all these guys are saying it, and I've realised when you listen to people too much and they're saying all these things and you start acting in it and it goes wrong, they just slide out through the back door and you got to deal with it. So yeah, I don't bother. I mean, I just try to be who I am and say what I actually generally feel. I don't try to put on nothing or act like a certain way to try and draw attention or do things to go viral. I think personally, I think that's weird, isn't it? I just think it's weird. That's not me. I don't want or like that sort of attention for the wrong reasons. I mean, just respect me for my fighting and leave me to live my life privately at home. Do you know what I mean? But when I'm out there in the ring doing my thing on my boxing events, yeah, I appreciate all the love. But other than that, I want to be known as a great fighter. I still got a lot of work to do to get that great status, but that's what I want to be known for.
How do you get there? How does Denzel Bentley one day be known as a great fighter?
Just the steps, man. Take the steps. Take the fights that need to be taken. That's why I don't turn down fights, because if a fight's put to me and that's what people want to see, then 9 times out of 10 they think it's a great fight. So I want to be remembered for certain fights. I mean, there's certain fights I look at and I'd be like, oh, that was a fight. Like Morrison, like Linus. I'm like, yeah, that was a fight. You know what I mean? Same fights I won, because Janabek, I mean, it was a good fight, but I didn't win. So yeah, and I want fans to think that as well. Like, oh, that was a great fight. That fight, I can watch that over and over again on repeat. There's certain fights I can watch and repeat over and over again. Floyd Gatti, Floyd Corrales. I ain't watched all the Mickey Wars fights because the style of fighting I like to watch.
Also,
I mean, like,
we have quite a similar style of kind of interest in fighters, I think. I like the Midwest style of fighting. Midwest, Detroit style boxing. James Toney, Floyd Mayweather, Tommy Hearns, those guys,
Yeah, so that's me. I watch these guys, even going back to them days, Leonard and Hearns, Leonard and Hagler, those fights I can just put on when I don't know what to watch. Start watching it, or I might phone someone. Like, I think Isaac's got a good style of fighting as well. He likes these guys. So I might phone, hey, who am I watching? I'm going for a run.
watching Joan Guzman?
Who?
Has he had
no,
he went through a Joan Guzman phase. He went through a big phase of Joan Guzman.
He does, but he put me onto what fight I was watching it. I was going for a run in the gym. I just had it on. Can't remember what fight, but it was a good fight.
You have to find out and tell me whether, because I probably recommended it to
him. It was Felix Trinidad and
Fernando Vargas.
Yeah. That was a fight.
Really good fight.
That was a
big
fight.
Rivalry.
Yeah, that was a fight. I watched that. So I want to be known for those kind of fights. I mean, they probably fought before I was born, maybe. I don't know, but I'm watching it now today. Like, it's live forever. Those are fights I want to be in, and fans to just be like, oh, hey, listen, you want to watch a fight? Go watch this guy. That's where I want to be. But like I said, it's the steps, taking the fights that are being handed to me, winning the world title ultimately, because that's how you become seen on the world stage, and just defending it, winning multiple titles, and just, yeah, man, doing the best I can to entertain people.
Becoming a world champion now at middleweight, obviously you've had one shot at the world title and come up short.
Yeah.
But it's not the middleweight division that it was maybe 10 years ago.
It's not.
Of Gennady Golovkin, Canelo
100.
Alvarez, Sergio Martinez, that sort of level. Do you see that? Do you sense opportunity in that?
Yeah, I did. Even before the Janabek fight came about, I was like, bro, this is opening up. This is crazy. So I'm looking at everyone else. I was even looking at Janabek. I think I'm going to fight this guy at some point. I didn't know he was going to be dead, but I thought I'm going to fight him at some point. Charlo's probably going to move up and let go of that WBC title. Golovkin has just vacated his 2 titles. I'm like, it's opening up. I can get a shot here. Then that came about. I just happened to fight, the best in the division at the time, and now he's got 2 belts, so it's lessening the chances. But there's still 2 more out there. Do you know what I mean? And I'd like to get one of those, because we asked for Janabek fight. He said nothing in it for him. I should go off and win a world title and unify. But then he needs to slow down and not try and get all of them
win all the belts.
Quick. Yeah. But if I can get my hands on another belt, I swear I'll unify with him straight away. Like, so it's just somehow, like, God willing, I get my hands on a world title, I'll unify Janabek next. But I mean, Lara, I don't know what he's doing. He's holding on to that belt.
Looks like he might box Danny Garcia, which
I've been hearing that for a while.
I don't want to see that fight.
I don't want to see that.
Arislandi, I've always been a big fan of Arislandi Lara. The real ones will know. I actually named my daughter after Arislandi Lara.
Oh, swear.
Her name's Lara, not Arislandi. But anyway, and Danny Garcia is like, if you think about fighters that have given Danny Garcia problems over the years, it's guys who can move,
and
guys who've got good straight shots. And Lara, even though he's not fleet of foot like he was a few years ago, and he's at 54, you still look at that fight and you think, I don't see how Danny Garcia could win that fight.
And neither do I. I think he's trying to catch him with his age, but Danny Garcia has been inactive. I'm not sure how Lara lives his life, but he doesn't seem to me someone that lives his life probably as wild as Danny Garcia. So Danny Garcia's probably blown up in weight all the time, which is why he wants to go up to 160. And he's essentially come up for 140. So Lara's going to be bigger than him anyway.
Yeah, and if you look at the difference between Garcia at 140 and 147, it's not a different fight. It's obviously the same, but like the punching power wasn't necessarily
he's not as effective. He's fought all the top guys at that weight and couldn't beat any of them, essentially. I mean, doesn't take away from what he done at 140, but 140 was his perfect weight. So I think he's just trying to catch Lara because of the old age, hoping that he's gone down, but he's not the same fighter that he was. But he would have a bit about him still. The only thing he might not have is a chin. But as if Garcia's power, carries that far up, because he's been hit by big guys. You know what I'm saying? Hurd, massive guy. Was about 6'1", 6'2". Didn't knock him out. He put him down, but didn't knock him out. So
that was a great fight.
Yeah, that was
brilliant fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
Yeah, there's Carlos Adames now. He's got the interim belt. Obviously,
Carlos
don't know what's going on with Jamal. There's talk about him potentially boxing Jose Benavidez Jr. I think some point before the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I don't know whether the guy's moving up or not, because he keeps saying he wants to move up and fight guys at Plant, but then he wants to come down, and WC are giving him,
he's not boxed in 2 years.
Exactly. It's too long, but they're giving him his time, regarding his situation, and I understand that, but they should just make him a champion in recess. Like what they usually do for these guys.
They're literally doing it right now with Badu Jack at cruiserweight. Badu Jack's moved up to bridgerweight. Actually, did you watch my interview with Mauricio Silva and Canelo Charlo Fight Week? You didn't, did you? No. A good bit in there about the middleweight division. Check it out. Denzel Bentley. Live on Boxing News. Check it out. But yeah, no, they're doing it at the minute with Jack. He's moving up to bridgerweight, so they're making him champion in recess, and then they're doing Noel McKaylian versus Ilunga Makabu.
I didn't know they're making champion in recess, but I heard about that fight. So that's what they need to do. Make it champion in recess. And when he's ready to come back, he gets first shot at the title, whoever wins it. But keep the division moving, man. There's people that want to fight for these belts and win these belts. But, I mean, as soon as he vacates, I'm guessing Carlos Adames will get elevated to...
full champ.
Yeah, the full champ. But that's a fight I'd love as well. I think that guy's... I'm kind of mad because I look at guys and I think, if you're good, I want to fight you. Like, I know everyone goes the other way around. Oh, he's a bit dangerous. Let me fight this guy and get to... No, I think this would be a sick fight. I want to fight you. You know what I mean? So... Carlos Adames, I mean, if he wins the world title, I mean, I'm in that WBC ranking, so probably pick me as a defence.
I'll be out of the convention in a couple of weeks, then, so I'll put in a good word for you and the boss. A few months back, I can't remember when the rematch was, you're calling that Chris Eubank Jr. Obviously, after his win over Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr. is kind of, he's back again now, after obviously avenging that defeat earlier on this year, which was a big shock at the time against Liam Smith.
Yeah.
Is that just you trying to get somebody like that? Because could you imagine Eubank Jr. turning around and go, I tell you what, Denzel, I'll fight you, rather than Conor Ben or Janabek or any of these guys? Denzel, we're gonna fight.
I'd be honest, I can't. I don't think you'll fight me. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop trying to fight him, but
yeah, of course,
I don't think he'll fight me unless he has a comeback fight and thinks he picks me up like he picked Morrison, and then I could upset the apple cart like that. But I can't see him saying, let's go for Denzel. Like, I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm the biggest name in boxing, like in British boxing anyway. I mean, he's not going to make Conor Ben money fighting me, do you know what I mean? And I don't think he has any real aspirations of becoming a world champion anyway. So even if there was an eliminator, I don't think he would fight me. He's in it for big paydays right now. And do your thing, man, but just stop talking like... What annoys me about fighters is when they start talking like they want to win world titles and want to do this, and they do everything but that. You're not fighting your eliminators, you're asking not to be mandated, there's champions calling you out and you're saying no. I mean, he had the chance to fight Charlo, didn't fight Charlo, because that's why he went to America to fight.
Remember when he boxed Matt Korobov?
He went to go fight him because he was going to build that Charlo fight. Didn't fight that. Janabek's out there, you're number one for WBO, and he's openly said you're a name who'll come to the UK for you. You've just completely ignored that. And you're fighting Conor Ben. I mean, you're not really saying what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? So, or maybe you just don't believe you can win those fights, and you'd rather go for Conor Ben fight, win that, and maybe try to go for that after. But I don't think he's someone that wants to win a world title. I think he's over that. He's enjoying the money, rightfully so. Go do your thing, man. But yeah, let's just not talk about world titles if that's what you're doing. It's no different to the misfit stuff, but if I'm being honest.
How do you see Eubank Ben going if it happens?
I mean, Eubank's the bigger man. I mean, based off that performance against Liam Smith, Eubank should win. Conor Ben's explosive. He clearly carries power, but at 147. He had a comeback there. Listen, by all means, he ain't been in the ring for, was that a year?
No,
Or over a year. I mean, the thing happened like a year ago, but it's been over a year since he last boxed. But he had a comeback fight at 154, and his power had no effect on, his opponent at 154. So it's going to be hard to see how his power carries to 160 if it didn't really carry to 154. But other than that, he's an explosive guy. Eubank really gets hurt, but then saying that Smith hurt him, but talk about elbows, whatever. But I don't know how he can hurt him. I don't think he can hurt Eubank like that. So I would think Eubank would win just because he's just the bigger guy. He's knocked out bigger guys. He's got super middleweight and had a mad knockout against the Turkish guy, Yildirim, things like that. So it's like he carries his power. I think he's a sharp type puncher as well. And there's a couple of shots that Conor Benn's open to a little bit, and Eubank throws them shots very well. But yeah, let's save that for another day.
I was going to say, I have to get you in camp. get you in camp. Have you sparred Eubank before?
No, but I've asked to spar him and they haven't had an answer, so I just thought, let me ask to fight him instead. But yeah, I've asked to spar him. That's the thing. Apart from Janibek, I've never actually been in with anyone like that world level sparring fight. Nothing. So
You go out to America, go get some work in out there.
I'd love to. I mean, even when I went there was inviting me saying, "Yo, come back anytime. We'll get some work for you, get you a house here and there." But I'd probably like to do that when I ain't got a date coming up soon. Because when I'm in camp, I need to be with my team and get things right. But if I get a bit of time, I know I'm not fighting till, let's say, a certain time, and I got like a month to just play about. I'd go out there. I'm someone that prefers to train, even if I ain't got a date, because if I don't, it probably can get a bit messy.
That's also keeping something like that. It's about experiences, isn't it? And then when you go out there, you go and do something like that out there. It's just a new experience. It's another thing to take. You'll find ways of training out there that people don't do over here, and there's all sorts of stuff you can take away and come back. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, a lot of people have been telling me, "Oh, go America." I'm just like, yeah, I will. When the time's right, when I get the time, I'll go out there. Just probably stay out there for a bit and see what I can learn from there. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think a move to America is go for a month.
But go for like a month. Go for a month, get some experience, man. Yeah.
Remember when Senior Byfield went out there? Senior Byfield went out there and he sparred Javante Davis.
I remember that.
For like 6 months, that's all you heard about. Senior Byfield, who was a light middleweight, sparring Tank when Tank was still at 130 as well, wasn't he? And he was coming out and he was going, "I did this and I did that and I held my own." It's like, he's a super featherweight. Like, you're like a light heavyweight at the minute. What's going on? But experiencing that must be great though.
Yeah, but especially like in Floyd's gym as well. Like, you're trying to prove yourself.
On the doghouse.
It must have been.
I'll tell you what. Let me know next year when you go in, and I'll come with you. How's that?
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool, wicked. Right, Denzel, I could sit here and talk about boxing with you all day.
Yeah, me too, actually.
But I'm not going to, because today's my first day of annual leave and I'm sat in here. So I better get home before the missus kills me. But before I do, I want you to tell me in one sentence how your fight with Nathan Heaney is going to go.
One sentence. Late stoppage. I think he's quite tough. I think it will go late. That's what I'm trying to stop him anyway, but I know he's tough. If I don't, whatever, but late stoppage is what I've got.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best in the battle of the good guys between Denzel Bentley and Nathan Heaney for the British middleweight title. As always, Denzel, real pleasure catching up. Make sure we do it again soon, unless you lose to Nathan Heaney, in which case we'll leave it another couple of years.
Hey, this might be the bad luck, the last time I was on here, jeez.
Once you get a couple of comeback fights under your belt, then we'll see you again soon. But no, thanks very much for popping by. As always, real pleasure catching up with you. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see you on the hallowed seat over there on the boxing show sometime soon.
Yeah, man, get me on there, man. Let's do it.
Okay, that's all we have time for today on One on One Boxing. Thanks for sitting through another episode of One on One with. Don't forget to please like, comment and subscribe. Turn your notifications on and we'll see you next time.
There's definitely mutual respect there. And listen, I went into his change room after the loss to Lara. We were there with his family, very upset, and I went over to him, shook his hand. So I'm talking about, I'm going to fight Lara next if I do. You've got my hand here, Lee, and I'd be honoured to give you a fight and share it with you. So I've been in that position when I'd been knocked out, beat for my first time, going into that rematch, Jesus. The amount of demons that we're facing, shit, if you get beat, what if you lost it? What if you ain't got that punch resistance no more? What if he's fucking knocked out here?